lumber manufacture, how they turn a log into lumber. There are three main sawing methods. The first one is called plane sawing. The annual rings of the log are at an angle of 45 degrees or less to the wide surface of the boards being cut. This is the way most lumber is produced. Quarter sawing. Quarter sawing, first the log is quartered, then cuts are made at a 90-degree angle to the annular rings. More expensive and creates more waste than plane sawing, but it gives a better looking grain pattern. Rift sawing. The log is quartered lengthwise, then lumber is cut from each quarter at a 30-degree angle or greater to the annular rings. This results in narrow boards, but also a lot of leftover wood. Your fun fact for this: all of that leftover wood, what do they do with it? Well, Henry Ford, the creator of the Ford Model T and the assembly line, challenged his engineers to not waste all of this extra stuff when they were making the wheels. So back when they made the Model T, the wheels were made out of wood, and they'd have a lot of sawdust and wood left over. Well, the engineers came up with making charcoal. So Kingsford charcoal was actually developed by Henry Ford. That's why it's called King's Ford. Anyway, that was the way that Henry Ford was a little more efficient with his process, and that's your fun fact for this. Seasoning methods. So after they cut the wood, it needs to dry out. There are two ways they let it dry out. The first way is air drying. Lumber is placed outside with wood strips between boards to allow air to circulate. You usually see this on softwood for construction. Kiln drying. Lumber is placed in a temperature-controlled building called a kiln, usually used on hardwoods for furniture because we can get the moisture content down to a good level for making furniture. But during the drying process, you're going to see some lumber defects. If you've worked with wood at all, you'll see some of these. There's the cup, the board can bow, it can twist, it can crock. Knot, think to yourself, remember where knots come from? Checking, and it can split at the end. Now, here's kind of a little fun fact here. This board here at the bottom, if you found this board, you could still use it. You would just, right here, cut off all of this bad stuff, or even here, you could still use it. These other ones you probably wouldn't want to use. Here's some different types. Sometimes on the end you'll have a want or a wane where part of the board has come out of the center, or the wane is still where there's some bark on the outside. And then you can just see there's some more close-up of a check and a shake and a knot. Again, on this, if you found a board like this in our shop and you wanted to use it still and the rest of it was good, you could just cut that off and scrap it.